Are you ready, teachers? Allow me to share my slide. So what's on top for today? These are our discussion points. I'll be sharing with you some of the latest news about the reading problems in the Philippines, the reading interventions that we can use, and the use of effort praise as a growth mindset reading intervention. All right. Let's begin with this question. What's the current state of reading literacy in the Philippines? So, among 79 participating countries and economies, the Philippines scored the lowest in reading comprehension in the 2018 program for International Student Assessment, or PISA. And this was actually a big news in 2019 when we received that report from that international assessment. And aside from that report, Filipino researchers have found a very alarming rate of struggling and non-readers in some of the provinces in the country. For example, in the study of Estremera and Pavilario in 2018, they found that approximately 60% and 70% of the total population of 6th and 7th graders, respectively, in public schools from the two provinces in the country are classified under the frustration reading level in comprehension. That's very alarming, right? And this finding means that our students' reading ability is below the expected reading level of their mental age. All these studies were reported before the pandemic. Now, what do you think happened in the reading literacy rate when the pandemic hit our country? Did it get better or worse? What do you think, teachers? Based on the report of the UNICEF, less than 15% of school children in the Philippines, or about 3 in every 20, can read simple text in large part due to the longest school's closure of more than 70 weeks as of the middle of February caused by the COVID-19 pandemic. The latest UNICEF assessment translates to more than 85% learning poverty, defined by the World Bank as the share of 10-year-olds who cannot read or understand simple story. So you can see, based on these facts, survey, and reports, that we really have a reading problem in the country. Now, how do we solve these problems? I know all of us teachers have this concern on the reading abilities of our students. May I know your insights about the solution to this reading problems? You may share that one in the comment section. Right? Okay. Now, reading remediation programs have actually been conducted in the Philippines by not only the government but also non-government organizations. For example, the Department of Education will soon launch its national reading and math programs as part of the agency's learning recovery efforts at the basic education level. And we're so thankful for these efforts. But the question is, are these efforts enough? We as teachers, what can we do inside our classroom? Especially now that we are shifting to face-to-face learning. That's why we have reading interventions. According to Ludwig and her colleagues, when they analyzed 26 reading intervention studies, they found that these interventions are indeed effective. Overall, their findings suggest that reading interventions have positive effects on English language learners' reading skills, and they should not be delayed until these students have reached a certain level of oral English proficiency. So we see how important reading interventions are. Reading instruction plays a central role throughout K to 12 education, right? And much time and resources are located with a goal of ensuring our students are reaching grade level expectations year after year. Yet, statistics show that many of our students are reading below grade level, and some studies find that interrupted schooling from the pandemic exacerbated this issue. That's why we as teachers need to devise strategies such as reading interventions to arrest this problem. So what is reading intervention? According to ENDO in 2022, reading intervention entails intensive or targeted instruction on reading to accelerate those who are reading below grade level. There are some evidence-based reading interventions that we can use or apply in our classroom, whether um, hybrid learning, online learning, or face-to-face learning. In order to accelerate students' reading to grade level proficiency, here is a list of reading intervention strategies on specific areas of focus. But I won't discuss all of this because I know in one way or another, you know how to integrate or apply these reading interventions in your own classrooms. What I will share with you today is another reading intervention strategy that does not only focus on the cognitive factors of the students, but also on their mindset. What if these reading interventions do not work? What will we do as teachers inside the classroom? What could be the other factors that may affect the effectiveness of the reading interventions? In the study of Dalandi and Ungan in 2022, they found that cognitive and motivational factors predict reading comprehension at a statistically significant level. And these two factors are the factors that we need to really consider when we implement a certain reading intervention inside our classroom to help our struggling readers develop reading abilities appropriate to their grade level or to their mental age. But if yeah, in this evidence-based reading intervention strategies, all of these actually target the cognitive factors of the reading development of our students. In this talk, I'll focus on the motivational factors. And studies have found that mindset is actually positively correlated with motivational factors such as intrinsic motivation and self-efficacy. And mindset is very important because it predicts the motivation of the students. There are two types of mindsets, according to Carol Dweck, the proponent of this of this implicit theory of intelligence. We have fixed and growth mindset. Do you know the difference between these two types of mindsets? Perhaps you may type in your answer in the comment section. Okay, I'll wait for your answers. What do you think is the difference between fixed and growth mindset? Or is this your first time to encounter such terms? Okay. To give you an overview, mindset is a theory proposed and conceptualized by Carol Dweck, a professor from Stanford University. According to Miss Marielle, fixed mindset is kind of negative. It may have boundaries, okay? While growth mindset, according to Mr. PF, it's a belief that the brain can grow through effort. Yeah, that's correct. In fact, Carol Dweck likened the brain as a muscle that continues to grow. Okay. According to Gail Lisa, fixed mindset is unchangeable, while growth mindset is open for change. Okay, thank you. I appreciate all your answers that you typed in the comment section. Okay, to define it clearly, when we say fixed mindset, it's the belief that intellectual ability is fixed and cannot be changed, while growth mindset is a belief that intellectual ability is malleable and can be changed. And why do you think, teachers, these two mindsets affect or influence the level of motivation of our students? Could you answer that question? Why do you think these two types of mindsets affect or influence the level of motivation of our students? Kasi sometimes, or most of the times, teachers are very much concerned on the motivation of the students, not really on their mindset. But studies show that we need to look at the mindsets of the students because these mindsets predict or dictate their level of motivation. I can see some answers in the Facebook comment section. They say that fixed mindset teacher set standards, while growth mindset encourage students to motivate to read. Ayan. According to Jane, a growth mindset means that you believe your intelligence and talents can be developed over time. Yeah, that's correct. That's why we have the term growth, okay? According to Stephanie, these types of mindsets affect the motivation of the students because these will determine how far they're willing to try to learn new things. Yeah, that's correct. Okay. Mindsets, again, positively influence or correlate with motivation. That's why we need to check the mindset of the student first. And if they have a fixed mindset, we have to help them develop a growth mindset so that they will also develop high intrinsic motivation. As you can see on the slide, based on the implicit theory of intelligence, students with a fixed mindset are likely to believe that their abilities are stable or fixed. As a result, these students do not expend effort to develop them, whether they are high performing or struggling learners. If they think that their abilities are fixed, they won't exert effort to improve their current abilities. They perceive that if they have high ability, they do not need to put in much effort to improve. They depend solely on their current ability. In contrast, students who believe that intelligence is malleable, in other words, students who have a growth mindset, prefer a task where they can pursue a learning goal because they are more interested in discovering new knowledge than minding their own ego. In other words, these students are risk taker. Of course, they take a calculated risk just to improve their current reading abilities. To simply put, a growth mindset promotes academic tenacity. And this is what we want to promote inside our classroom, right? Especially right now that we are still in the pandemic and we know that students are struggling because of this transition in the learning modality. Whereas a fixed mindset makes students vulnerable to failure. In addition, a growth mindset has an important role in inculcating students with perseverance and enthusiasm to learn. Someone with a growth mindset views intelligence, abilities, and talents as learnable and capable of improvement through effort, training, strategies, practice, while someone with a fixed mindset views those same traits as inherently stable and unchangeable over time. All right, so I hope the distinction between the two mindsets are clear. Okay. These two types of mindsets are again closely linked to intrinsic motivation. The fixed mindset undermines one's intrinsic motivation, while the growth mindset enhances this. Now, perhaps you're wondering what's the connection of these mindsets to reading interventions. If students have a fixed mindset in reading, the interventions might not work well for them. Okay, despite the complexity or how much effort how much effort you exerted to devise and implement a reading intervention, if the student has a fixed mindset, then passively the reading intervention might not work for that student. Since they already thought that their current reading abilities are fixed or that they could not improve in reading, they may not respond positively to the reading interventions that they will use in our class. Have you ever experienced that, despite of the in spite of the well-planned reading intervention that you implemented inside the classroom, you observe that your students are not improving in terms of their reading abilities? Have you ever experienced that one, teachers? Actually, not only for reading teachers, but also for other subject teachers. The theory about mindset is evident in all subject areas, and the principles behind this can be applied by other subject teachers. Ayan. Yes, oftentimes po, according to Perla. Ayan. I experienced that inside the classroom, sabi ni Ruth. Okay. In fact, when I was a senior high school teacher in my previous school, I had this grade 11 student who cannot even decode an English text. That was actually one of my motivations why I conducted this reading intervention study, because I want to know how to help these struggling readers to develop their reading abilities. Kasi despite the reading intervention strategies I applied in the classroom, these students still do not respond positively to this intervention. And consequently, they are still struggling in comprehending a certain task. Now, this is my main point actually. Do not just utilize an intervention that develops reading skills, but make sure that this intervention promotes a growth mindset in reading. If you go back to the report given by PISA, the one that, that international assessment program that reported that the 15-year-old adolescents in the Philippines scored the lowest in the reading test among 79 countries in 2018, they found that most of our Filipino students had a fixed mindset. So we can see the connection between their mindset and reading performance, right? So my advice for teachers is to utilize an intervention that also promotes a growth mindset in reading. So this is my hypothesis this was my hypothesis when before I carried out my research. If a growth mindset reading intervention was applied inside a classroom, then it will develop a growth mindset among students, and as a result, it will increase their intrinsic motivation to read. And since motivation is positively correlated with reading comprehension, it will also help the students develop their reading comprehension skills. The question is there a growth mindset reading intervention? In 2022, my advisor, who was a speaker also, I think 2 weeks ago, here in here in CoLab, okay, also presented a study, related to this topic. We wrote an article based on my study about the reading intervention that could promote not just reading skills, but also reading growth mindsets among our students. I'll share the links to our publications later if you're interested in reading those. Now, kanina, during the activities, the teacher Ina mentioned about effort praise and the importance of it. Effort praise can increase student enjoyment and motivation to complete a task and develop a growth mindset. According to Dweck also, those who are praised for their effort are more likely to develop and adopt a growth mindset, where a fixed mindset will be instilled in those who receive intelligence or ability praise. An example of an effort praise is this one. You must have worked really hard. I'd like you to ponder on this. This is a very simple statement, but it could promote a growth mindset. It can actually change the way students view their reading abilities. So words are indeed powerful, and we as teachers need to be very careful in giving words. Even if we have good intentions, we still need to be very careful in providing positive feedback to our students. Kasi not all positive feedbacks could promote a growth mindset in our students. Since effort praise is motivational according to the recent studies that have been conducted, it can also positively affect students' academic performance. The effort praise may come from the teachers or parents, and again, it can develop a growth mindset. Okay? There are two types of praise that we can provide to our students. The first one is ability praise. The second is effort praise. Again, to this concept and principle is not only applicable to reading teachers, but also to other subject teachers, because in all learning environments, right, we provide commendations or praise, especially when students perform excellently inside our classroom. So an example of an ability praise is you are smart, you are good, you are intelligent. And I believe there's nothing wrong with this, okay? But it may shape a fixed mindset to our students. Although, yes, teachers may have a good intention in giving this praise, but it may actually develop a fixed mindset in our students, while an effort praise may develop a growth mindset among our students. An example again is you must have worked really hard. And according to the study also cited here, ability praise may lead to fixed mindset and may also lead to low motivation, while effort praise may lead to high motivation. However, a Chinese group of researchers contested this. They said they argued that not all effort praises are motivating, because they can be moderated or influenced by the students' beliefs about the relationship between effort and ability. What is this belief? When students have a negative belief about effort and ability relationship, they think that when they exert effort, they show that they have poor abilities. Kumbaga, nag-exert sila ng effort dahil mahina sila or hindi sila magaling. Okay? Again, when your students view the relationships between effort and ability that way, it means that they have negative belief towards that relationship. Nag-e-effort ako, ibig sabihin, hindi ako magaling. On the one hand, there are some students who view these relationships positively. Ibig sabihin, when they exert effort, they think that they will improve, right? Okay, that's why, according to Lam et al., these researchers, they argued that when we provide effort praise to students who have negative belief about the relationship between effort and ability, they will not appreciate it. As a result, they will be unmotivated. Mafe-feel ng estudyante na, shucks, yung effort ko yung nakita ng teacher, ibig sabihin, nakikita niya rin na mababa yung ability ko. Okay? So that's the consequence of using effort praise to students who have negative belief about effort and ability relationships. But on the one hand, those students who view that relationship positively, they will appreciate it. As a result, their motivation increases. Since my teacher appreciates my effort in doing this task, then I will exert more effort. I will be motivated to exert more effort in this reading test so that I can improve more. All right? So that's actually the main argument that this is the main argument that I investigated in my thesis. Now, I put this argument in the context of reading. Okay, I surveyed struggling readers. I studied the mindset, motivation, and performance of struggling leaders in our province in Cotabato City. And then I also assess how they view the relationships between effort and ability. And I found that there are some struggling readers who view this relationship negatively, and there are some who view it positively. So what we did in during the experimental study was that we provided a very easy reading test so that the teacher could provide an effort praise. This is for us to test if effort praise could promote could promote a growth mindset in reading. Kasi it was contested by by the Chinese researchers, right? Na no, effort praise is not always motivating. And since mindset is positively correlated with motivation, we also want to know if this effort praise could also promote a growth mindset regardless of their beliefs about the relationship between these two. Okay, so when we provided a very easy reading test, of course expected that all of these struggling readers pass the test. So very appropriate yung paggamit ng effort praise. Take note, teachers do not give effort praise to students who don't meet the satisfactory standard of a certain task. Kung hindi naman sila nakapasa or hindi naman sila nag-improve, then do not give them an effort praise because they will think that hindi naman ako nag-effort, bakit ako pinuri ni teacher? It will be insincere on their part. Okay? There's another type of feedback that we can provide according to Carol Dweck. We call that one process-focused criticism. It's a constructive criticism, but the focus of this is on the process, not the outcome. It's actually a different topic. Pero that's one thing I'd like to remind our teachers for us to make sure that the intervention that we use, specifically the effort praise, is effective and sincere. We need to make sure that the students really perform well in a certain task. Kaya yung purpose namin of giving a very easy reading test is for us to provide this effort praise or treatment to our students. So the teacher there, the participating teacher said to each student when they submitted their reading test to their teacher, sinabi ng teacher, in Tagalog of course, ang galing, wow, nakita ko talaga na nag-effort ka in understanding sa pag-unawa ng reading test na ito. It shows through your score, pero more than the score, I appreciate your effort, your hard work in answering the test. Okay? So the result of that is those who view the relationships between effort and ability negatively, they showed a fixed mindset. While students who have a positive belief in that relationship, they showed a growth mindset in reading. And then afterwards, we provided another test, but this time a difficult reading test to see their level of motivation. Okay? And we found that these students, itong nasa negative belief, itong may negative belief, mas lalong bumaba yung kanilang reading motivation. While these struggling readers, take note, these are struggling readers. It means that they are under the frustration reading level when the teachers profile them, okay, using Phil Erie. They had moderately high reading motivation. So we can assume that the intervention is effective in increasing their level of motivation. And then after that, we provide an average reading test. And then we found that the students who have negative belief and who were praised for their effort, their reading score is very low as compared with those students who have positive belief and who are praised for their effort. So you see, the effort praise given to them, the effort praise itself is a good idea in providing feedback to our students. Pero hindi siya laging nagpo-promote ng growth mindset, hindi siya laging nag-i-increase ng reading motivation ng student. We need to check first how the students view or believe or perceive the relationship between effort and ability. So what shall we do now as teachers? Okay. Before I give you some practical tips in shaping the beliefs of the students about the relationship between effort and ability, these are some of the interview responses of my student of the participating students during the experiment. When I interviewed one of the students, sabi niya, sobrang saya niya daw when she received an effort praise from her teacher because she felt proud when she strived hard for it and when the effort of that student was appreciated by the teacher. Aside from that, another student also shared that she wanted to receive that kind of praise to gain more confidence in reading difficult words. So you see, very simple, very easy to use intervention, but it can impact it can create a positive impact on the students. Okay. Now, what are the pedagogical implications of these findings? First, praise the students when they use appropriate reading strategies in reading a text. For example, if the text requires scanning strategy and the student uses that strategy, and the student also performs well when reading a text, then praise that student for using that appropriate reading strategy. Okay? Kasi sometimes what we do is we teach them different strategies. Oh, you have to use skimming strategy, scanning strategy, you have to use this technique, etc. But after letting them use those strategies, we don't recognize their effort for using that. So as in answering a difficult test, teachers, do not be afraid to provide a difficult test to our students. We need to challenge them, okay? But we also need to praise them for their hard work in answering a very difficult or challenging test. Okay. Aside from that, for example, if they got a low score, do not focus on the outcome of the reading test, but focus on the process, focus on the effort, focus on um, how the students exerted effort in reading and comprehending a difficult text or test. Third is praise students when they exert effort in comprehending a text, and finally, praise students for reading a challenging text. Okay. I must admit, when I was a new teacher and when I didn't learn about this one before, this part of instruction, nakakalimutan ko na siya. So, um, I can say that this also affects the reading performances of my students inside the classroom. So it's very important that students hear words of commendation or praises from us. But again, these commendations must be given appropriately and accurately. So we need to start by shaping their beliefs, letting them believe that effort is vital in learning. And it doesn't mean that when they exert effort, they show low abilities. We need to let them understand that high effort equates to high ability, to encourage them to exert more effort in doing a certain task. So these are some of the examples of effort praise that you may use perhaps on Monday when you meet your students and you have, for example, a reading activities or tests, and then try to test if this effort praise motivates the students or promotes a growth mindset in them. You may say you really studied for your reading test and your improvement shows it. So instead of saying you are a fast reader, you are smart, you're intelligent, kasi those effort praises actually lead to a fixed mindset. Isipin ng estudyante na, okay, since I'm a fast reader, I won't exert effort. Whenever I read a text, a reading text, I know that I will read it very fast. Nag-i-instill siya ng fixed mindset. But when we say, I like the way you tried all kinds of strategies on that reading test until you finally got it, di ba? It promotes, it helps the readers see the importance of effort in accomplishing a certain text or task. Aside from that, you may say, you read the material over several times, outlined it, and tested yourself on it. That really worked. When I was a student, I felt embarrassed whenever I went over a certain material several times. Parang feeling ko ang bobo ko. Na parang bakit kailangan ulit-ulitin kong basahin yung material? That means that I had a fixed mindset in reading. So when the students, for example, in your reading class, read the text several times, then appreciate that. Okay, commend that commend that specific effort of that student. You may also say, I liked that you took that challenging reading text for your English class. It will take a lot of time and work, but you're going to learn a lot of great things. Okay, so this one, you can apply this one also in other subjects. You may say, I like that you took on that challenging math problem for your math subject. It will take a lot of time and work, but you're going to learn a lot of great things. So here, we also encourage the students to take on a challenging task so that they continue to improve, okay, whether they are high performing or low performing. So another example, this one for students who are performing very well in your classroom, you may also use an effort praise. You can say, all right, that was too easy for you. Let's do something more challenging that you can learn from, okay? For students naman who works hard and doesn't do well, you can say, I like the effort you put in, But let's work together some more and figure out what you don't understand. Yeah. So again, these are some of the examples that you can use to um, praise the efforts of our students. So before I uh, end the presentation, I'd like to leave a quote from Carol Dweck herself, the proponent of growth mindset, the growth mindset champion. She said, praise your child or your student explicitly for how capable they are learning rather than telling them how smart they are. So I hope that you have learned something from this topic. If you are interested in the intervention studies that I conducted, you may access those studies through these references. I think they will also share the file with the audience. Thank you and have a great day.